So the big question is this: how are real estate agents like us, who didn't cheat and take on venture capital and are spending money from our own pockets, how do we compete with these billion-dollar real estate tech companies and iBuyers in a way that lets us bring our services and the things we believe in out into the world and still remain profitable? That's the big question. And on this podcast, we'll give you the answers. Welcome to the iBuyer experiment.
What's going on, team?
We are we're podcasting here with Noah Neighbors. You have such a real estate last name.
He does.
Do I?
Yeah. Well, it's
Dude.
got neighbors in it, so.
And a very Mr. Rogers name too. Won't you be
My neighbor.
Why won't
Shouldn't
you
be slinging
my
software.
neighbor?
Should be slinging real estate.
So,
All right, what do we got, Kayla?
in other news,
Another real estate news.
let's talk about Opendoor's quarterly numbers.
Oh, Opendoor came up with their first quarter numbers.
Yes,
Boom.
they sure did.
Is it a dun 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 or a well, wow?
I don't know. I guess that
It's
depends
a-
on how you look at it.
It's a wow, but they're stocked it. It went wow, and then it went.
Okay, well, that's interesting because the stock
That's the way it
initially-
normally goes nowadays.
But it initially soared, and I think it was the inflation report that
It
set
did,
it
yeah.
back,
Sore, but
It went up like $2.
Yeah,
which is pretty good considering
Yeah.
it's a $15 stock.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I mean
that's
they
like-
IPO'd at what, like 12, and they went up to it like 34 or something.
38.
38.
And then they're down. They were
It's
down
sky.
yesterday at like in the 13s
Oh wow, really?
For a
Yeah,
moment.
For a moment.
Hmm
Like, yeah, it's a
They rounded out the day at about 15.
it's a good buy if you believe iBuyers are going to be in the future here.
The thing.
I've got a few
I
shares.
was gonna say, did you hang on or did you dump?
Oh, I
them?
have. Yeah, I have.
I should have bought
some
more at
shares.
13. My cost basis is like $14.90 right now.
All right.
Oh, you bought some too?
Well, you're up then because
Yeah, I'm up.
we're in the 15s today. So, yeah. So tell us about the first quarter numbers.
Well,
What it's
I
the
listened
reporting.
to the earnings call, which was interesting. And in quarter one, they acquired 3,594 homes.
That's insane considering how crazy this market is. 3,000 homes.
That's
they're-
also nationwide.
I know.
It is.
And they're in
Right.
what? How many? 20?
That's tr-
3 markets? Or-
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still 12,000 properties per year. When we are in the craziest seller market we've pretty much been in ever.
Oh, they're speeding up. Now.
Ever.
They're speeding up.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at I think they released their quarter 4 as well, did they not, when they first IPO'd?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that number was up 78% from the previous quarter.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Run that by me again?
So we're in the hottest real estate market, and their acquisitions went up
78%.
Well, aren't
Last
acquisitions in
That's
general
insane.
just down in like December, like quarter 4 normally, because people
Yeah.
aren't really moving in quarter
Yeah.
4?
Yes.
But it wasn't in 2020.
Right.
That's true.
The numbers didn't align with that, but typically, yes. Okay, so that's how many homes that they actually acquired. Now, here's an interesting tidbit. They sold 2,462 homes.
Wow.
That was
Because that was obviously inventory rolling forward.
exactly. And it was for 747 million in revenue,
Whew.
an increase of 200% from last quarter.
Well, their revenue is the house, though.
Yeah.
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 He seems
they're-
like, wow,
They're
really?
padding that revenue.
They're making a
little bit.
lot of money. Well, what's their cost? Their cost was probably give us the rest.
650.
Wait, which is interesting though, because it should be that way, right? I mean, if you looked at the books of like a car dealership,
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
their cars would also be.
Yep. What they acquired for, what they
Exactly.
liquidated for.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it took them 21 days on average from list to pend.
What? That's awesome.
Seems kind of long.
Actually, that's kind of.
I think
long.
that's awesome.
That's long for that.
On a
for that
national
quarter.
average, though?
Well, they're probably doing some fixes and
Yeah.
a little bit carpet, the
that's
lipstick.
from list to pend.
Yeah, from list to
Oh,
pen.
list depend. Okay.
So that
That's
to
only
me,
3 weeks on market.
That's long.
that means they're listing high.
exactly. That's a long time for this market.
I guess. I mean, when I'm thinking about things on a national average, I mean, I realize here in our local market that would be like an eternity, 21 days
Exactly.
right
Everybody's going, what's wrong with it?
now. I know, but I'm saying on a national average, and all their 30 markets that they operate in, 3 weeks on market is, I feel like that's solid. I don't know.
Typically.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, it's not sold in a week and people are freaking out right now. Okay, so they made an average of 4% revenue per home.
That's awesome.
Their adjusted EBITDA was $2 million. Let's see. Here's something that was interesting.
And when that was down, that was up from what? I thought it was negative 2 million.
Was it negative? Yeah, it was. I'm sorry.
Negative 2
Negative
million.
2 million.
Yeah, and last quarter was negative 27 million, right?
Yes.
So they didn't lose as much money this past quarter.
Good, which is good news for Opendoor.
Yeah, well, and I think that trend's going to continue, right? But they've also said that they're not going to be profitable until like 2025.
I mean, come on, we've looked at some of these tax records, what they're buying these homes for and what they're selling them for, and it is not the 5%. It's like, I mean, we saw one today. What was the one you saw today? Let's dive into that.
Let me give the last little tidbit of numbers,
Yeah.
and then let's give the address for that one, so all of our listeners can go find
totally
that.
see
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
so
that'd be awesome.
The last little tidbit that they shared was that as of the end of quarter one, they had 4,027 homes in contract.
Wow.
Yeah. So they have more in contract than they acquired.
It's like, what, 1,300 homes every month.
It's pretty cool. It's
Which is, how much is that a day? That's like...
If you're doing 1,300 a month, an average of 30 days in a month.
So like
It's a
5
lot.
a day? They're
Yeah,
buying
it's
like
it's
5 or
about
6
5
a day?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many offers, I wonder, do they issue to get that sort of acceptance?
To
I
get
mean, if
5
we
or 6
go
a
off
day.
of the numbers that you guys always bring up, where it's 5% of people are actually accepting the offers, then 1,300 a month is only 5% of the actual number of people that are submitting.
Right.
Yeah, well, why do you think that they're claiming, like, if you go on their website, I think they're saying that they've had like over 1 million offer requests now at this point. I mean, it's
Yeah, that wouldn't
it's
surprise
stupid.
me. Well, that doesn't include people. They probably include people that submit multiple times as well.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. It's just a rolling counter.
So we've been looking at the tax record to see like what are these sellers selling to Opendoor in this hot market, and so we've been going through tax records and seeing what these are closing for. And keep in mind these are the numbers without the service fee, right?
Without the service fee
And any kind of repairs.
and
just
any kind
what
of
they bought the
repairs,
house for, right?
What they bought the house for,
the
and then
gross number.
They back out the service fee and any repairs out of that number. So we only know the number of the purchase, not the actual the net number.
So let's be clear on that, because I've actually had conversations with agents recently that I assumed understood that concept, and I had to very thoroughly explain them that that's why they buy the house and what a service fee actually is, especially like in other markets, like some of our users and subscribers for Zoodealio. So simply put, what they do is they want to offer on the house, and then they will give a service fee on the property, which actually is treated as a concession and lowers the actual acquisition price, right? So if they give a $500,000 offer with a 10% service fee, their actual effective purchase price on that property is $450,000.
But that's not what's showing up in the tax record.
Exactly my
It's
So
point.
look at the service fee as a commission.
Exactly.
So what is this address that we found? Because this was like the shocking one, right?
This is so
Tell us
shocking.
tell us the
we
address,
found so Kayla did an audit 2 weeks ago, and there was a handful of ones where they found we saw them make some pretty decent money. This one takes the cake.
What's the address?
The address is 2831 East Bart Street in Gilbert, Arizona, 85295. And this particular home, they purchased it and closed on it in March 29th of this year. They acquired the home for $363,000. It is currently on the market. It's been on the market for 10 days for, guess, Noah.
600.
Goodness. I mean, if we told
Not
you it was
that
crazy,
much.
not
Well, I
not
don't know.
crazy.
You said Gilbert, Arizona, and I was like, I don't know, like over $500,000.
It is over $500,000. So keep in mind, they
Really?
bought the house for
$363,000.
$63,000.
And that's not including
$329,000.
their fee. So if they had a 7% fee, you're looking at another, what, 20 grand? off that?
Most of the fees I see right now are a minimum of 5%, right?
Okay.
That's I'm not saying never, but most of the fees are 5% at
What is it
least.
listed at 525?
Very close. 537.
Is
So
that
they're
not?
gonna
Does that not
crush it.
make you sick? That makes
Now,
me sick.
That's almost 200 grand if you take out the service fee.
So
Right.
let's just analyze this for a second. So most of the time they will not make an offer on a property, and they want to close within 60 days. So let's give it the best case scenario. That means that offer was presented to that homeowner at the very end of January, right? And the market has obviously picked up at that point since then. But when you look at the appreciation that is just, and I mean, and I went through the property and to see if it was like a really jacked up property that they had to fully, take on a lot of risk, renovate, etc. And as you can see,
it looks nice. It looks like it was,
well, and it is nice, but it's not a brand new remodel. Is my point, Jay? All they did is probably paint it.
Yeah, it looks like they painted it. Maybe put some carpet in it.
Maybe put some carpet in it.
So maybe 10 grand.
Yeah, let's go off the deep end. Say 15 grand.
Yeah, they're gonna have with service fee backed out, that was like $344, $850. It was a 5% service fee, right?
Yeah.
So and they're listed at $537. So they get,
almost $200,000.
Yeah, you're talking about $200,000 a margin.
You guys,
on
this
that
makes
one.
me sick.
That's not 4%.
That makes me sick.
That's not 4%.
If they're screwing people over this hard, I wonder if they'll ever get in trouble for it, right? Because when you ask for an offer from Opendoor and they call you, you have the feeling of like, oh, I'm working with an agent, but the agent represents Opendoor, and then they're pulling $200,000 extra out of your house once they relist it. It's like,
yeah, it begs the question, at some point, is the Attorney General going to get involved and say, hey, wait a second, these consumers don't know what they're doing here? And I don't think this is the rule. I definitely think this is the exception.
I think it's the exception,
We've seen
too.
a couple that, Opendoor actually acquired them for a little bit more than they're on the market for.
Yep.
But what I was really surprised to find when I did that audit a couple weeks ago, looking at about 300 properties here in the Phoenix market, I was really surprised to see that in many, many, many situations, Opendoor is making a ton of money.
I know.
And it makes me sick because I think that, the iBuyer option is awesome for consumers. And if they use a program like our cash offer, they can enjoy all of the benefits of that convenient, easy sale.
Yep.
And they can maximize any of that upside on the open market.
Yes, that's because when we sell it, if we make extra than what we bought it for, you get the difference.
Well, let's talk specifics now it's no longer theory, it's official. On a property that we had just done in Eastmark of Mesa. Tell us about that one, Jay.
Yeah, let's talk about that one. So we made an offer, in February?
In February.
For $490,000. It was a nice house in Eastmark.
Yep.
The owner had, several teenagers and I think like 5 dogs, a couple cats.
The house was
clearly it was a full, house. It had they had a lot of stuff, and it was going to be really hard for them to get the home and show ready. So they decided to sell to us with the upside, or with our Sell Plus program, and so we bought it for $490. We have a 5% service fee. It's kind of like what Opendoor does, and the agent put it back on the market for we bought it when March. I think March.
Yep.
No, we bought it in late April.
Late April, actually.
What did we do to the property?
As soon as the consumer moved out, the homeowner moved out, we got some paint and some carpet in there, and put it back on the market within 5 days.
Well, the agent listed it at what price? Because the market
at 500.
Yep.
And we had 10 offers.
Yep.
2 of them cash.
Yep.
Ended up selling for $563,000.
Insane.
And who makes all of that?
$73,000 more than what we bought it for. And guess what? We're closing this next Monday, and that consumer is going to get a $73,000 check.
Insane.
Sent back to her.
So all you agents out there listening, right? We just gave you a tangible, factual property on Bart Street where that money that they made overage is not going back to that homeowner.
Yeah, the homeowner would have $150,000 coming from us if they would have sold it from us.
Opendoor's model with the property on Gamma that we're referring to, you'd literally have a head-to-head situation. All of that money, that overage of the $490 would have stayed in Zoodealio's pocket in that circumstance. Yet, with the Sell Plus program, all of that money is returned back to the previous homeowner. So they got all the benefits of cash.
Being able to move out of the house.
Certainty. Yep. But then they also got the benefit of the open market. And let's face it, I mean, you talk to that because, I mean, obviously you're such an expert in this area. When you have the market right now that is smoking hot and you have kind of the dogs that are hanging around for that 2-week period, the 21 day that you talked about. Like speak to how it causes a frenzy with the new smell of carpet, the new smell of paint, and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, when the house looks like it's brand new, people want it. They like product that is very appealing.
Yep.
And in this market, they're already desperate, and when they see something like that, and they're looking at dogs, and they see something new, they're like, I am not losing this house, and they go the distance.
Well, that was actually one of the tough things. And I mean, a lot of the agents and owners, and I mean, obviously we're dealing with this more and more now when you have the frenzies of people. And I mean, you have the agents that are sending in their love letters and, all these different things. And, people that are turning in some of these financed offers, it's nuts out there right now. They're having to go crazy, and you almost feel bad for them because when you're talking about 10 plus offers, in Gilbert and Chandler, which is, or your desirable cities and areas, there's going to be a cash buyer somewhere in there right now. And this finance buyer, even though they're putting down, 50% down on a lot of situations, you're still accepting the cash offer because they're waiving the appraisal contingency and they're going to close in 10 days. This is
kind of a no-brainer, I guess.
It's a unique time.
What else we got?
Yeah, so interesting. I think that from what we all can tell, Opendoor did really well last quarter. And there's been some speculation, maybe they've spun the numbers in their favor, of course. But yeah, Housing Wire did an interesting article on that.
Tell us more.
You know
You're
what?
just gonna dry,
I'm just going to leave it I'm going to leave it at that because I didn't read it all.
All right, so go check out Housing Wire, guys, if you want to read an
read
interesting article.
Let's talk about, I think what was interesting to me is the inflation numbers came out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom.
What do you guys know about that?
It was high.
Yeah. What is it, 4.3%? Highest since 08 or something like that?
Are you kidding me?
And everyone's thinking,
highest,
is it the, it's just the startup, is it from COVID? And
Well, I've heard a lot of people saying that, is it really inflation or is it just the increased price of goods due to the production shortage of 2019 and 2020?
So it could be a combination, perhaps?
It could be a combination or it could be one or the other. But like when you look at how much you're talking about housing, how much the materials have gone up in price just to build a property. That's not just for housing.
On average, 35,000.
Yeah. You got to think of how many countries are still shut down and how many countries shut down before even we did. And you just had a huge backlog of factories not even running. And then once they are up and running, all the countries that they sell to, economies are shut down. So then they're like, okay, we don't know how much to make. And then all the countries started opening on very short notice, and you don't have a backlog of product ready to go.
So they start raising their price. So all the commodities, the lumber price just went skyrocketed because they, all the sawmill or the mills were slowed down, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pumping out a bunch of stuff, and then they're like, they don't know what to do with it.
Well, according to an article,
bad.
This article in Zillow, it's saying that rising lumber prices may finally be cooling off.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to go down 20-30% in the next couple months.
Well, like I said, I read another article, I think a few days ago, that said the average new build house, because of cost of materials, has been affected $35,000 on average. When you think about that is massive.
Well, especially when you're talking about on a national level, because obviously here houses are super expensive, but out in the Midwest, if new builds are being $35,000 extra, that's
like 12%.
That's a lot
14%.
more percentage of the property's price.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think when the prices do kind of cool off, builders will not be passing along that savings.
You don't
I
think?
already know.
They ain't gonna lower the price, but they may give you some granite for free or something.
Builders, you gotta love them because it's such a unique thing. I mean, we all, Jason, Kayla, the three of us have remember when the builders, when things slowed down, or when they started paying like 10% commissions to like move their properties.
12. I remember that. 12. It was a 12, I think.
Yeah, I got a 12 one once too. And now.
I got a 14.
Did you really?
Yeah, she did.
No, I just wanted to one up you.
Oh, I was like, good Lord. I could tell. I remember the property, everything too. It's just 12% commission. I mean, goodness.
Was
Come
it
on.
Dietz
now.
Crane?
No, mine was, was it, they went bankrupt. Ingle Homes.
Okay.
Ingle Homes. That's what it was. Yeah.
I remember those. Yeah.
Yep. Ingle Homes.
Yep.
I lost my train of thought now.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Yeah, home builders. You remember they brought in the extra commission?
It's gone.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, dude.
At least just think about that 12% commission.
He's
check.
like, how much is that?
That sounds
I
good
know.
right about now.
It does sound about good right now.
But here's the thing though, like commissions, I know that some builders aren't really paying as much as they used to, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at our average price point is now like $440. That's insane.
Especially for a new build.
And yeah, I mean, we used to, what was our average price like 5 years ago? 2 something?
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
so like a 3% commission on something that's
It's almost double. It's double
exactly
now.
on 200,000, but now you've got, even if you only get a 2% commission, it's
still
still
more.
more. It's still way more. I don't think that like realtors I think that gets lost on them a little bit. Because I'll hear people complain about commissions and I'm like,
Yep.
you know what? We still make an amazing living doing this.
Yep. So I remembered what I was going to say, and it has everything to do with exactly what you're talking about right now. So a lot of new builds, their sales representatives, their agents that sell in the models, they are no longer being paid commissions. They're getting paid flat rates.
That makes sense.
Well, and it's like I mean it's like I understand what their gripe is, because it's like, okay, so now you guys are making more money because they're passing on most of these costs to the consumer, right? Things aren't changing as far as that goes. The demand is literally through the roof, but the builder's pushback is you guys aren't even selling. All you're doing is taking orders, which there's that argument too. But at the same time, they're cutting the sales reps' hands off because they're only letting them sell so many houses per month because they can't build fast enough to keep up, and it's a lottery per their house and da 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 da. So it's a very unique landscape that happens in all arenas when inventory and the demand just gets so darn high.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to get a flat rate when new builds are flying off the shelves. Like builders could probably just put a little machine at the front door, and the building
Put a
would
kiosk
sell in a week. Yeah.
Oh my
Right?
gosh!
Like one of those updated McDonald's where you just order your burger. And
That's our next.
I'll
our next
take
invention.
lot 7.
The multi-offer kiosk.
Yeah, I'll put granite. And I'm liking this idea. Let's keep going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When demand is this high,
Yeah,
it's
you imagine that they walk into a new building that's a multi-offer kiosk. People put in enter their offers in, enter your highest bid.
I like it. I like it. They should do that.
so it costs more to build that kiosk than to pay the agent a flat rate.
Yeah,
So.
but you could at least scale it.
Yeah, that's exactly
Sell
it.
it to other builders.
And then you got the robots that go build the house right there.
3D print them.
Well, and here's the thing, Noah, that you don't know this. These new home sales reps, even at a flat rate, I'm not kidding you. A lot of these people are selling like well over 100 houses a piece right now, each one of them, and they're still making probably $250,000 and up. They're killing it.
For a new home agent, you
Yep.
really think so?
I think so. I don't think so. I actually
Maybe
know
they
so.
top one.
Maybe
Some
like
people.
Toll Brothers, but maybe not like DR Hortons or anything.
The express home.
Express Homes.
Express Homes.
Making $250,000 selling express homes.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I know some of them. I personally know a couple of them, and they're knocking it down decently right now.
All right, well, that's
Well,
going
good
to
for
wrap
them.
up
Good for
our iBuyer Experiment podcast for today.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in with us, and
Don't forget to subscribe and go follow us on Instagram as well.
And smash the like button.
Smash it.
There is no like.
We truly appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today on the iBuyer Experiment podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe so that you're notified when we launch new podcasts. We'll catch you on the next one.
Show you the money.